Hello everyone, my name is Abayomi. You're welcome to the .NET series for beginners. We'll be using the .NET framework by Microsoft on C# to build first of all the console app, then we migrate to the web API. This tutorial assumes that you have the basic understanding of C# or any programming language, and you can use the terminal. The ingredients for this tutorial are IDE. So if you head over to visualstudiocode.microsoft.com, we have a number of them that we can use. We have the Visual Studio in purple and the Visual Studio Code in blue. Then you can download for your OS. We have the Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, Deb, and other distros. Then we have another one called Rider. Rider is by JetBrains, the creator of IntelliJ IDEA. You can download for Mac OS 2, for Linux, and for Windows. But for the sake of simplicity, we'll be sticking with VS Code, the blue one. The second thing that we will be needing is our SDK, our software development kit. If you head over to net.microsoft.com, click on this first link, you can download the SDK for your respective OS. In my case, I have the Mac OS here. Then you can click on download, then just click, and click. It's very simple to install. To confirm if the installation was successful, you can go to your terminal. You can type for Mac Finder, go to your terminal. In my case, I have my item open here. If I type .NET version, so I have the version 7.0.307, and if you also type .NET without any flag, you can see a number of commands here, like info, list SDK, list runtime. Just play with them. .NET info. We have, it's giving up the info of our runtime environment and so on and so forth. We have a version 7.0.10. When you feel stuck and you need to learn a new command, you can just type .NET help. So it will give you a list of commands that you can run. So let's pick one. For example, we have the info, we have the version will display .NET SDK version in use, and so on. To add a package, we have .NET add. To build the program, we have .NET build, and to list, and all. So let's play with one again. Let's use list. So I will clear my screen. I will do .NET new -L for list. Then we have the template to create various applications like the core empty web application. These are their alias or their short name. We have a console application, the class library, GitHub, Blazor server, MVC, Razor, and so on and so forth. So with this information, let's build a console application. To start with, let's organize our code. I will cd into documents. I'll create a new folder called .NET heroes. Then let's cd into .NET heroes. Then I'll clear my screen by typing clear. Then to create a new console app, we type .NET new console. Then the name, you can either use the flag -name or use -n name. Then let's call this guy .NET heroes.console application or app. Makes sense. Then we have this result. The template console app was created successfully, restore succeeded, blah blah blah. So if I do my ls here, I should have this .NET heroes.console app. Then let's open with our VS Code. So one of the ways that you can open, you can go to your document and drag and drop. This is So we have the .NET Heroes here. So I will click on .NET Heroes.console app. I'll drag and drop, or let's drop the old folder here on our then I hop on and I'll expand. So this is the VS Code that we installed initially. So we have the .NET Hero solution file here. Now next class we'll be diving into what each file or folder does in this application. So we have the program.cs, which is the main entry file for our application. Then the CS_proj is like the art of the project, contains information about the project. If I expand, we have the project SDK, Microsoft.NET.SDK. Then we have some properties here in the XML format. Cool. So let's check our program.cs file. We have a single line called console.writeLine hello, world. To build this application, we open our terminal. I'll click on terminal, new terminal, then .NET build. We have build sources dead, 0 warnings and 0 errors. Cool. So let's let's run our program. I'll do .NET run. So it's saying what could not find a project to run, ensure that a project exists, because we're not inside the .NET Heroes.console app. As we can see here, we have .NET. Then if you do ls, that is list the files and folder inside this main folder. We have the console app and the solution file. Then you can either seed into the .NET Heroes, the console app. Then you do .NET run, .NET run. Then we have hello world, or you go back, you change directory, go up one folder, then you do .NET run, then target the project, which is .NET Heroes, then console app. This should work too. Beyond writing hello world to the terminal, let's write something meaningful. Writing namespace. Namespace is just a way of organizing our code in a more structured form. So I'll do namespace. Namespace will contain the name of your folder, main folder, which is what .NET Heroes. Then I can put in semicolon here. You end every expression with semicolon. Then I'll create a new class called program. The name of your program should be the name of your file here. Programs. If I'm having test.cs, it should be class test.cs. Then we open our code block using this curly brackets. So we have class program. Then we can do our static void main. And I would like to introduce you to an extension called C# dev kit. Yeah, you can install it. So what this guy does is to give us snippet that we can use while writing our code, so we don't have to manually type everything one by one. So if I do svm, which is static void main, this is just to create a main method. Like I said, I assume that you have an understanding of how to create or how to work with C#. Then we can just write our console.writeLine. Then we pass in hello world like we had earlier. Then to run this app, you click on up or just click on up. Then we run .NET. We have the same hello world. Let's create a real application to mimic a person. So I'll create my class person, then drop down. A person should have an identifier like the ID. So I'll do public class, public int, then we do getter and setter, then public string. Let's do first name or name. Name is okay. Name getter get and set. And you're getting this warning here: non-nullable property name must contain a non value. There are three to four ways that you can remove this warning. Number one, which I will not advise to do, is to go to your CS proj, then you can disable the nullable here, disable, then we have the name will, then the one we go away. Number two is to make it assign a string empty to your property by doing string.empty. Then the last one is to put a question mark here, basically. So whichever way, I think this is preferable. String.empty. Then let's copy this guy and duplicate it. Then we have our age should be int. Then lastly, let's do public datetime. Let's do date created. Then we assign datetime dot UTC now. That is, give us the current date. Or a better way to, if you have multiple classes here, a better way is to have a base entity that you can inherit the properties from. Let's go do that. So I will write class base entity. Then I will create this guy. Now move my ID and my date here. ID and date here quickly. Then we can inherit the base entity from here. So invariably the ID is being injected into this person class. Then so if you have, this helps us to minimize code duplication, to follow the dry principle, which is what, do not repeat yourself. Let's create another class called class animal. Then we can have, animal can have color. So let me copy this guy, color. Then we can also inherit from the base entity. So the animal will have the ID, datetime, and color, while the person should have, or would have, the ID, datetime, age, and name. So let's print this guy. Let's print the classes, and let's make a new object from this class that we created. So I'll put my person class, call it person1 or p1, or let's call it person equals to new person. Then we create the, say the ID is let's give it an ID of 2. Then you have first name here, no name is person. Let's do James. Then we close this guy. Then we can print to the console. We'll do console write line. Then we put person. Then we can target the name here. Let's see what will happen. Or another shortcut to write this is to do CW. You can have a system that console.write line. You can remove this system away. Then we can do person dot ID. Let's do ID. Then if you open your terminal, let's run. We have James and 2. And if I do person dot datetime, let's see what, or date created, let's see what will happen. Person dot date created, we have 12:5:23. This is very early in the morning, 12:50 a.m. So because we already assigned this date value to it, we're saying on creating, give us the current date time, and we can target it from this person object here. Cool. So let's merge the values coming from this object together by using string interpolation. So I'll do console.writeLine, then I'll open my $sign. I'll do my name is, then open a bracket, person.name, passing the data dynamically, and my ID is person.id. Then we end this guy with, we run, we have, my name is James and my ID is 2. Cool. Quickly, I want to push this app to GitHub. So how can we push to GitHub? First, we know, of course, we need to add our git ignore. Then if you check the command that I showed you the other time, we have .NET new -l. We should have new git ignore somewhere around .NET git ignore file. Okay, so let's create a new git ignore file in our main project folder, in our main project folder ls. So if I do .NET new git ignore, then it will create a new ignore that will contain files that we need to ignore. So we are passing this wildcard here, ignore. If you have this file, ignore. If you have .vs, I saw vs, the logs, ignore the logs, and so on. So just ignore a number of things here. Then let's push to, the GitHub. So let's push to GitHub. Then we'll do git init and git add initial commit. Do you wish to see all of the lines? No. Git add, so git init, git add all, then git commit, initial commit. Then we click on enter. Then let's create a new git repository. I'll come here and I'll push create. I'll call it what should we call it? What did we call it? .NET Heroes. I'll just copy .NET Heroes. I'll make it public. Then create a repository. Create. Then click on copy. Then dump. Then we have our application pushed to GitHub. So this will be the base project for all our application for this series. In the part 2 of this series, we'll work on how to build a .NET Web API. We'll look at how we can use the controller, the routing system, how we can connect to a database quickly, how we can perform the CRUD operation, and so on. So thank you for watching.